Hello friends, this is a commentary on the matrix, unloaded and dissected. The next level, the first 13 videos I did, I missed quite a few points. As a matter of fact, you will always miss on some of the esoteric sides or layers of this movie and the script, of course. So here we go.
Is everything in place?
So here is everything in place, right? And then you see the numbers.
You weren't supposed to relieve me.
You are not supposed to relieve me.
I know, but I felt like taking a shift.
All right. So here what they're trying to say is when you see talk going on between the various members of the matrix, and then you see this particular screen, right? This screen here, that's talking in the other dimension, in this dimension of supposedly the spiritual dimension, not in the physical world where we are now. So these two are actually, they are spirits, such as fallen angels according to Western traditions, or jinns or demons according to Islamic traditions, which are different from angels, and so on and so forth. But that's what she said here. I know, but I felt like taking a shift. What this here means to me, and that's possibly what it means, again, I'm speculating, I am not 100% certain about the subject here, is that taking a shift is either she wants to shape shift, right? To go down into, from the world of spirit, down into a physical body, or a physiological, with physiological functions and so on, in the world of the tangible, in the world of humanity, that's us, right? And then so she is going to shape shift, right? I feel like taking a shift. Or the second thing that it could mean is that she, and they will explain that in the following statement, is that she is interested in taking a shift, meaningly becoming pregnant with the Son of God, right? Or something of the sort.
You like him, don't you?
See, that's what he means. So now what it means is that she, as a spirit, as a demon or demoness, she saw this person called Neo, who is either the Son of God or God, right? Himself. Supposedly they trapped him in Babylon and certain, and so on. So this could be the story of something that has happened few thousand years back, when supposedly they trapped either God or Son of God and so on, right? You like watching him, right? I mean, she's watching him from close range, but he doesn't see her. That is Neo.
You like watching him? Don't be ridiculous.
Don't be ridiculous.
We're gonna kill him.
So that's the statement. They are going to kill him, right? And so on.
Understand that? Morpheus
Believes he's the one. Morpheus, like I said, is a shapeshifter who apparently here is portraying or playing the role of Satan himself. So as you can see here, there is the column of fives, and the top indicator says 555, right? I am not well versed into the numerology and symbolism of the occult, right? But I know from the public domain that they mean something similar to 666 and then 555, and then so on and so forth, right? But what these numbers mean, they are a number. So supposedly when someone protests being a victim of a certain act, right? They would say, we are not numbers, we are human beings, right? But here, what these are here is in fact soldiers. There is now soldiers pouring into the physical world from the world of spirits, right? So the fives are now descending with all their own soldiers here. Soldiers here mean a subject, right? A owned brick in the wall subject. So now the battle is commencing, right? So with that statement, they commence, and then the fives, who are whoever they are, now they're sending soldiers descending into the world of human beings. That's us, and from the world of spirit, which of they're talking, which of which they're talking in now. Okay, again, so now we know what the 5 is. There were columns of the digit 5 falling down, as if to say all these are fallen angels. They're falling down, they're falling from heavens. So the 555, usually the pentagram denotes Satanism and so on. I don't know what the 6 denotes, really. I haven't read much about that, but maybe maybe I don't care. Now the 6 shows up. Now they're falling behind the 555. First, the 5s descend down onto this world because they want this supposedly son of God, right? So there's a battle brewing, and then angels and demons are falling from heavens, right? So let me show you the 6 now. The 6 appears, right? There goes 6, 6, right? And then there's the column of 6s, right? So the column of 6s is falling between 699, 258, 096, 050, maybe 991, maybe blah blah, and so on, right? So that's that. So this here battle is brewing, and all these creatures or from the world or dimension of spirit are falling down on the battlefield, which is humanity here, right? So notice when the 6s fall, right?
Did you hear that?
She says, did you hear that? So now there's number 6, which apparently denotes the agents or the angels. The agents such as Agent Smith and his colleagues, right? Or his brethren, or whatever, right? And they're falling down, and then now they are trying to say, hear what, right? So apparently this here is now beginning to listen in. But before that, when the 5s were displayed, you saw 3 columns of 5s being deployed down. But the 6 apparently got wind of what's going on, maybe from Cypher himself, as they're saying he is, right? And then once the 6 shows, you hear them talking about tabbed telephone line or spiritual line.
Yeah, what? Are you sure this line is clean?
Are you sure this line is clean? And there goes your 6, right?
Of course I'm sure.
Of course he's sure, right? I don't know what the 6 and 9 are, right? So they add up to 15, or some people say yin and yang. I explained that before, but you know what it is. But between the 5 and 6, there's a space or nothingness, right? And that will be a tunnel, a wormhole, if you will, into the world, from the world of spirit all the way down to our world. And you can see it was, as you saw, it's a mix of blue and green. So blue and green, and I didn't see red here, right? Red and yellow and brown, I didn't see anything here. All I see here is green and blue, right? So here are clumps of blue pixels. I don't know if they mean anything. Maybe they're just sprayed by some graphics program. I used to use those, and we used to do like touch and spray. Maybe that's what it is, or it could mean something. If you count those patches here, blue within the green, so the dominant world is green, and that's Islamdom. And then within it are hiding some blues, right? Like Blue's Clues, for example. And here, now they're going through the wormhole into materialization, if you will. I don't know if I explain anything here, but maybe you can make out some kind of a face here or something of the sort, right? Or, you can read some of, there's some kind of a text here, a little bit distorted, but you can, of course, sort it out. I think I saw a face here. By the way, this dot here, the one you see here in the middle, that's the camera LED indicator, which is here, right? Somewhere here. I suppose I should have covered it. I don't know what that is. It looks like Saturn or Uranus with the rings and so on. But turns out to be the flashlight. Okay. Okay, so the 303, as you will see that later in the movie, this is precisely where Neo gets killed. Okay, if you notice here, if you take out the flashlights, the lights reflecting off the wall from the flashlights, as if Trinity in the city hoarding, this is where that hotel is, right? And where Nebuchadnezzar is, right? Which is a cell of Zion, right? On the moon, and all of them are is also where. So there is the hotel, there is the Nebuchadnezzar, and there is the city hoarding, and all those are in the lodge. If you notice the lodge, that old building with checkered floor, they're all in the same building, right? So now, if you notice, as if Trinity is working in total darkness, you notice? So total darkness, right? What does that mean? That means nobody knows anything about here. Or it also means, right, that she is not human being. She doesn't need the light to see, right? Did you notice that? Also, if you notice this particular dot here, just next to this scratcher, that's reflection on the TV screen from the LED on my camera lens, next to my camera lens. So I should have covered that. So as you can see, there's total darkness here, right?
Do it! Do it now!
Okay, we also knew what that is, you know, the 1 hour. I explained that in the dissected, right? Hourly rates. That's where they take your sperms. So here I see a symbol, right? Sometimes you think it's the sheriff, right? But if you look at it, it is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then 3, right? And then you got like a mix of red, blue, and red and blue, and possibly white, right? And I explained this, right? 7 and 21. You can do some mathematical operations on this. The car here is 501. I don't know if that signifies anything. Area 51 maybe, I don't know. And I explained the Kung Fu. And if you count, you can count cars. We did that before. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 7, right? And then there's 1, so 1 and 7. And as you will see, the 1, 7 is significant in all their movies. And then there's your Kung Fu, right? They collude with the Chinese against Neo. Now here, fire protectant, right? All right. So you saw that on the back of the car as well, but it was upside down. I showed you just that just a second ago, right? So it's got the 5 and then it got the eagle or bird. That also signifies the 5, right? 5-pointed star. And then there is the eagle and the bird. So it's symbol of Satanism, right?
You're cramming up your ass. The orders were for your protection. I think we can handle one little girl.
So one little girl, whenever you see in a iconic movie like this, or that is filled with symbolism and numerology, little girl means the state of Israel. That also you will see in the movie Alien. Newt surrounded by all these aliens and was able to survive, and so on and so forth. So that's a different story, of course.
I sent 2 units. They're bringing her down now. No, Lieutenant, your men are already dead.
So I thought I saw something here. I don't know, I want to make an interpretation of the reflection here. You know, like the eyes and the lipsticks and so on. It's something that is looks a little bit scary to me. I explained this, of course. So now, this symbolizes a war between Israel and supposedly its neighbors. So 4 neighbors, I'm making the assumption that this would be Syria, Jordan, and Egypt, and perhaps another country, maybe Iraq, maybe Lebanon, you know, Lebanon, right? Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, and Egypt, right? So that's what I'm making an assumption of here, is that this is a war between all 4, right? Or she's battling all these 4. So this may be 1948, this may be 1967, maybe 1967, right? Or 158 or something of the sort, I don't know. So that's Israel battling its neighbors, right? The one-eyed monster, little girl, right? Uh-oh. All right. So now, as she stands, I made try to explain the gestures on the hands, like the fingers, right? So the fingers, I think they're also representative of the number of the room itself, 303. So there's 303 or 313 or something of the sort. See? So there's 3, that's Israel. So there's 3 and 3, which gives you the Star of David or something of the sort like that, right? Of this gesture here. And she's flying in the air. She's performing some superstitious or miraculous acts. Extraordinary moves. Yeah, so that's 303. The fingers, they're the 3 and the 3, and then she's in the middle here. That's the state of Israel. I assure you they can't fly like that. Okay. All right. During the fight, there is a flash, right? And that shows you a pattern. Paper wall pattern, wallpaper pattern that is similar to where Morpheus initiates or destroys Neo in that room in the lodge, or I think it's on the wall of the Oracle as well. So where the whole thing they're showing you intentionally is really in the same building. Here, when she starts running away from the agents, the walls do look like the matrix on the screen. They're ribbed, R-I-B-B-E-D. So that means this is within the matrix right now. She's transitioning from this world, physical world, back into the spiritual world or the matrix. So here I showed you that before, but it is clearer now. So there's like phone is 25550161. So you remember the 555, these are the soldiers on the matrix as they descended down, say, from the spiritual dimension or world into the physical dimension. They started pouring into the battlefield, right? So the 555, but then after that is the 0161 or the 161. The 161 I showed you on the board. It illustrates or signifies the flag of Zion, vertical. And of course that is shooting back, meaningly they're providing here with ammo. At the same time they're shooting at the agents, right, or the number 6. Now here, this also means that she has just gotten herself guns, right? Why? Because when she ran off, as you can see, she doesn't have a gun, but now Zion provided her with guns. See, she doesn't have guns. As you can see, Zion is shooting back at 6, which is the agents or the angels of God. One falls. I don't know if that signifies anything here. I don't know if that signifies anything as well. As you can see, there are dark windows, and then there's like 2, 4 and 4, and then there's 8, right? By 8 is 16, so 16, 4 and 4. I don't know. It may or may not mean anything. See, she doesn't have guns. Notice, she doesn't have guns. So apparently Zion has just given her guns, or handed her guns down after she jumps into the other building opposite this here.
It's impossible.
So as you can see, there is like some squalor here, ruined ruins, right? Here ruins, maybe that's Egypt, maybe pyramids, maybe Europe, I don't know, but could be Germany as well. Notice she still doesn't have guns, right? But she pulls them out very quickly. I don't know, maybe she did. Yeah, looks like she had them hidden. However, if you look at here, that jacket and that leather uniform she's wearing doesn't show outlines of any guns. So now Trinity wants to cross the bridge, as you saw in my earlier comment videos, that the bridge signifies a crossover from one dimension into another. So now she's come here to run into the bridge and then exit to the other side. If you recall, I made that comment about Neo when they took him in that Lincoln car and they supposedly extracted the bad seed from him and threw it out on the pavement, where it dimmed and died. So as if they're talking about child that he had that they want to do away with, right? But The angels knew what she was doing, so they came. As you can see, the gesture here is they blocked her way. Right? That looks evil. And I mentioned, you know, this is the bridge, and this is the truck. It's like from the Duel, movie Duel by Spielberg and Dennis Weaver. City waste means either they are waste, or that's where they take people, or this is derogatory term. You know, like it's not benign, it's not innocent. City waste means like city phone book, city waste, and so on. I don't know, maybe that's where they put people or something of the sort. But angels, I don't believe that. Here, I think the red vase is also seen displayed on the in the cupboard of the oracle, where Neo talks to the Buddhist monk, the little boy. I think that's the same vase, but we'll come and see it again. There's a camera here, and there's a TV. So this is a place of hideout of Zion, right? Where they conduct their business, surveillance, and assassinations, and you know what, other things as well.
We'll need a search running.
Here we'll need a search running means commence battle.
Has already begun.
Okay, I explained this to you before. You know the name of Al-Asad, or the father of this particular butcher. You know, both donkeys, right? And so on and so forth. But here, I don't see the outline or the skull shape of that of Morpheus. It just looks different to me. Maybe it's my skull, but hey, I'm trying to put myself in this movie for a while now, and I just can't. You know, at this juncture, I'm giving up hope on becoming famous. This could also be the skull of Cypher. This could also be the skull of Cypher. But it could be that the agents are searching for the hiding place of Morpheus, or Satan in this case, you know. So, I want to say something superstitious about the TV here. You know, the camera and the red vase, which is an antenna or something of the sort, right? Consider this a fiction, but somehow I had a feeling that while you think it's a frequency, electric frequency, right, that flies across the air and so on, and then is interpreted by the TV into a picture, right, with certain number of frames and so on. I had the feeling at one point and the experience to believe that the TV is really not an electric device or something else, right? Could be electric device, but it is a window on the other side or the other dimension, while those creatures that are inside of it or behind it or being broadcasted across on the camera, right, into the tower, and then from there all the way to your TV, you know, the antennas receives that frequency and so on and so forth, right? I had the feeling and certain evidence that those creatures there are mere representations, news anchors, actors, whatever, and they're really looking at you real time while you're watching it, monitoring you and so on and so forth. And if you do some funny act or however gesture, they in fact may react to it if you pay close attention. If you recall, I showed you a Muslim, supposedly a Muslim scholar. He's not a Muslim scholar, he's a Morpheus, really, we know him. And I told you that some of the stuff he said there is extremely conforming or very close in gestures and meanings and thoughts and notions and ideas to what you observe or watch in this movie. You know, the stuff that they talk about in this movie or they conceal is very much in conformance to what that Egyptian Morpheus is. But he was born on April 15th, 1911, and guess what? He died on June 17, 1998, just after this movie was being taped and being produced, if you will. That Egyptian monk, he died on June 17th, 1998. Whose name is Morpheus, Egyptian Morpheus, with a turban and sitting on a chair, high chair, and talking to his audience, preaching. So now here on the screen you will see number 32 and 69. What does that signify? That right now there is a spiritual or mental or psychological fight about him. Both sides are now trying to reach him and pull him out and possess him, is what they're trying to say here. Here, as you can see, there is 5 and then 1 6, right? Or 1 7. So 5 and then 1 and 1 7. So like I said, the 17 is all over the place here. And they mean by the 7th heavens or something of the sort, right? And then there's red, right? Red devils. So there's now a psychological, spiritual fight, you know, subconscious or unconscious, subliminal commands and fight to possess him. Now there is a race to reach him. The song Dissolved Girl here, which is playing in the headset and playing now, is in fact talking about nihilism. Nihilism is nothing. I will actually elaborate on that somewhat later, why they choose the word nihilism or the concept of nihilism. Here is his bed, right? And the bed is green as it shows on my screen. So he is a Muslim. He's sleeping in a green bed. That means he's in bed as a Muslim. And he drinks coffee, right? So he's a coffee drinker. That's a Muslim, right? And he's in computers. Oh boy, now I'm back in the movie. Not so fast. So another notice here, another something that I noticed here, a certain view. I'm going to show you that. Wake up Neo. So they're talking into his brain now. Maybe not computer, right? But they're using computer. They're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone, or more than 2 birds with 1 stone, right? So now they're talking to his spirit, to his unconscious. Wake up, Neo. So he wakes up, right? But he's unaware of what's going on. Now notice. Notice the progression of the waking up. So he woke up with 2 eyes, but then they show you only the 1 eye, right? Now you see the 1 eye. You see it? This very short motion shows you that they're thinking that something in him that is a son of God or something big, they're trying to wake up. So now we also see a certain key combination that does not make sense. Control, we usually, to stop something on the computer, we press Control C, right, to suspend a program or to terminate it. Control Z is to suspend, Control C is to terminate, right? However, here he presses Control X. It just doesn't make sense why he pressed Control X. Does it mean anything? I think it does, but really, for me right now, I am at loss. I am baffled by what it means. But here, when you look again, you will see the green a matrix screen reappears again, right? So when you see the green color, that's Islam. So when they're doing that, they're functioning within Islamdom, which is really all over the world. Again, here you see disc 67, which is 1967, and that's also associated with the Hafiz the donkey, Al-Asad the donkey, the father of this particular current butcher of Syria, right? And maybe their belief is nihilism, because nihilism is assumed by certain occults in the East, such as the assassins or Hashashin, right? So maybe that's his religion, nihilism, and they have men as gods, right? Remember, old man of the mountain, and then there's that money, right? On nihilism, in God we trust. So they considered him a god, Hafiz al-Assad or the donkey. They considered him a god. They believed in nihilism, and that's 1967. There are other indications here. I cannot explain them. Like here, there's 1688, 58. Is that like those people, the 1967 Hafiz al-Assad, which his name was mentioned on the screen, in the Nahar newspaper, they helped the Zion in committing the inquisitions and atrocities of the inquisitions in France and Spain and probably Italy and the Pyrenees Mountains and so on. So this is disc 89 and this is disc 54. I don't know. 89, there's 54, there's 58. So that's me again. I think these are my siblings, my sisters and my ex-brothers and sisters and so on. Oh boy, I am desperate to go back to becoming famous. But hey, I don't want any of that shit, excuse my language. This is disc 74. So as you can see, there's 67, there's 54, there's 74, there's 58, and we saw, give me a second. So there's 67, 54, 89, and 74. Apparently, these are the birth dates of my family members. Oh boy, I'm trying to get into this movie, but I can't. Who gives a shit anyways? I'm just floating some fun and humor while I'm making comments on this movie. But hey, they're eerily similar, right, to what my family members are, meaningly by my siblings. Alright, resuming the commentary. Here, he seems to be confused as he's being set up for a trap now, right? And the scaffold, actually, here, they're making ready the scaffold, right? They're setting up the trap. So the scaffold, so he can go out and walk a dangerous, fine line, way high up in the on the skyscraper side. So either he succumbs or he falls, right? So now he's looking at it confused, as you saw his stare when he stared out of the window, looking at those people sitting up and clearing and so on the scaffold while he's being condemned by his or dressed down by his boss. See, there's a confusion.
You have a problem with authority, Mr. Anderson. You believe that you are special, but somehow the rules do.
So here I'm going to repeat to you this particular scene and the chatter between Morpheus and Neo as he's setting up Neo for a trap, right? He set him up for the trap already, and the trap is in progress now. The crushing of Neo is in progress. Yes, shit, yes. So Morpheus is happy now.
What the hell do they want from me?
I don't know, but if you don't want to find out, I suggest you get out of there.
No.
I can guide you, but you must do exactly.
I can guide you, right? But you must do exactly as I say. Precisely what Cypher said to Trinity on the phone when he inserted himself back into exited the Matrix, right? And then killed Switch and APOC.
You must do exactly as I say.
Must do exactly as I say.
Okay.
The cubicle across from you is
So notice again, outside there's a scaffold.
How do you know all this?
How do you know all this? He asked him a question. He's inquiring. It's his right to know, right? How do you know all this? And there's no answer. Morpheus and Trinity or whoever is part or a member, part and parcel of this attack on him, right? Of this conspiracy against him, right? Who's part of Zion, never give him an answer. So how do you know all this? We don't have any time, right? We don't have time. You see, I mean, from here, even until this moment, which is 15 minutes into the movie, right? Anyone would just take off, right? And try to avert a catastrophe but he's now in a struggle for his very own existence and what he is and what's being taken from him and what's being done to him, right? All the intransigences, all the hurt, all the torment, all the theft and all that stuff, right? All right, so here he says something very interesting.
How do you know all this?
We don't have time, Neo. To your left, there's a window. Go to it.
So he says, to your left, there's a window, go to it. Does that mean anything? The way I'm seeing it is it's in front of him, or the only window to that office. But to your left and to your right, we as Muslims have a fact in our religion that on our left there are, and on our right, and surrounding us there are angels, right? Some of them are accounting us on the wrong deed, some of us are accounting us on the right deed. So the judge is Allah, and then there is the prosecution and there is the defense, right? The defense is on the right, and on the left is prosecution. Guess what? That's how the concept of judge and prosecution and defense and jury came about, right? But on the left is the angel that accounts on our own deed, tries to sink us or try to convict us, right? So and that's probably what they deem as loose angel, the one against God. But it's not true that way, right? But that's what they're thinking. So to your left, there's a window. Go to it. Meaningly, lose all your ethics, lose who you are, lose all that you know. Like you need to unplug, when Choi or Chewy said you need to unplug, meaningly you really have to loosen up and just become an animal. Last licenses, anything goes, right, in that world of theirs. So that's what they mean by that. So speaking of the two ways.
You can use the scaffold to get to the room.
No way. No way. This is crazy.
There are two ways out of this building.
Two ways out of this building.
One is that scaffold.
One is that scaffold, the other is in their custody. But he hasn't offered him the safety net or the third way. So there's more than one way or two ways. There's one more way. He hasn't offered him that so far. Why? Because he will reject it. That is total obedience, like a dog, right? Like a serf, S-E-R-F, which he just told him, you have to do exactly as I say, right? And that later is also declared and stated and pointed out by Cypher. So here, now he's putting him in trouble. Only when he's completely down and helpless and unable to maneuver out of his predicament is when he really offers him that way, which is really the red pill or the blue pill for that matter.
The other is in their custody. You take a chance here.
But they don't offer him that. They want him to be like roughed up enough or harassed enough to be in so much pain and so much hopelessness and misery as to eventually, when he's given that offer, he will just give up, right? Or find it on his own. If he find it on his own, I doubt they will accept him. He has to be subdued. Going into the world of Zion, that is of Morpheus and whatever it is, right? Zion, Nebuchadnezzar, you know, and so on, is not by way of choice. You are beaten into submission, right? As they say in there, within, a slave is not bought, a slave is made.
I agree to you.
This is insane. Why's this happening to me?
Why is this happening to me, right? And the question is very relevant. Eventually, he'll find out what they want from him and then accept his fate, which is slavery to Morpheus, to Tank, to Dozak, right? And Zion as well, where he serves until his use is over and he expires and they do away with him, as will happen at the end when they shoot him in that room 303 where Trinity was, right? So what's happening to me? The guy is confused. What did I do? You don't have to do anything. It's what you haven't done that is causing you a problem, right? Notice, he's being hurt around, right? Marshaled and hurt around and. I am nobody. I didn't do anything. That's a declaration by him and really by Morpheus, is what you are for Zion. You are nobody and you didn't do anything. Notice the wall is green. Yeah, there's no going about it here. You can't fly down, can you? And he's wearing that green jacket and a green tie as well. So he's a Muslim. That's the building next to Metacortex building. You'd see all that all too often. I think that's in Australia. I want you to notice something very disturbing. Notice there are scratches on that metallic bar here, or metallic surface. You will see it here as if somebody, right, was holding, just like Neo was holding, and then scratched it and fell down, right? He was unable to stay afloat or do whatever. He refused, right? He refused to be arrested by the agents. He refused to understand what Morpheus is trying to insinuate to him, or trying to subconsciously introduce into his unconscious subliminal commands and so on. So what happens to them? They basically fell. They couldn't hold. Notice the scratches. That's no coincidence. Notice the scratches again. There they are. There are a number of scratches here. So this is not the first time. And Neo, not this Neo, other Neos, right? They just basically couldn't hold on, and they tried to hold, but they couldn't find anything to hold on to, and they fell down. You see the scratches? There you go. These are the scratches, right? These are fingernails, right? So Neo now, either he takes the undeclared offer or begin to understand what it is, or he falls down and there's nothing here he can hold on to. So these are his scratches. They're scratches. Could I be reading too much into this? Maybe, but I doubt it. What I notice is that everything in this movie has a meaning. And he abandons him. Now I made earlier I made a comment about the agent wearing a yellow, a jacket, green jacket with yellow lining. And I said that may be China. Could be, but I don't know how relevant it is to Neo. Or could be just a coincidence, right? And now he abandoned him, right? I'm trying to read these here, memory and so on. I just can't find, but then you get your 6, 6, and 3. Again, I'm going to show you the word drugs here. As you can see, drugs. This movie should be banned just for promoting drugs, right? Drugs come by way of something red, right? Devils and so on. So it says, I wondered if, see, the drugs are gone, right? The drug banner is gone. But then you wonder, what do they mean by drugs? Do they mean by injecting him with drugs, right? No, because later here now you see cigars, pipes, and tobacco. So this is drugs that you ingest. Strange enough, this guy has a green hair and gray hair. I don't know. Right? So you get to see quite few people here wearing suits and carrying briefcases. Some are aluminum, some are just briefcases. What do they denote? I tried to guess. So I got a few items that I could mention. It may mean lawyers. So lawyers are needed to try to now corner him, right? Or intelligent agents. So intelligent agents, right? Secret agents, right? Or prosecutors, judges, right? Judges, because they send you in front of a judge, and the judge basically ditches you. Oh, you know what? This happened to me, as a matter of fact. One of my children. Oh, the judge basically threatened him right before my eyes because they, you know, they were using him to pull me off the scaffold and fall down to earth, right? Or wolves. So they could be wolves. If you recall in the movie Pulp Fiction, Samuel, I think, Jr., when he and Travolta dressed in black and they go about marauding and murdering and stealing money and so on, and they call them, I think, wolves, is what that means. Is probably what these are, what these guys are, right? So dollars here is 0. There are no dollars. You know, I ain't getting dollars. I don't know what's here. It does look like some kind of eagle's head or something, right? So here I want you to see something. Agent Smith is looking at Trinity, but he supposedly cannot see her. And there's that red woman and the woman with the beret, right? Notice. So Agent Smith is looking at Trinity. Does he not see her? Or he knows this is a pre-arranged scene here between him and Trinity and Morpheus and so on. Poor Neo. And then you get your woman in red. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 12. Right? So she got 12 buttons and she is red. 12 tribes of Israel, perhaps. The table and chair is 101. 1 on 1. I tell you what, I'm gonna stop here for this video. There's plenty to talk about. I may even produce another 13 videos on the next level in dissecting and unloading the matrix, right? Oh, there's so much to read in this movie. Even with another 13 videos, right? With 13 other videos, I don't think I will cover the whole thing or decipher all the symbolism and numerology in it. However, there are certain things I'm going to say, but one thing, there is a hidden track in this movie, a hidden track, and that is this total sexual dissolution. And there's plenty of homosexuality and bisexuality and so on, but homosexuality in particular in this movie. I will make a video on that alone and point them out to you. So this could be catering to a homosexual community, could be expressing homosexuality, and so on and so forth. I will make an independent video on that one. Have a nice day. Meantime, this is video number 2. Today is March 22nd. That 322 happens to be, I think, the number of skull and bones, and there are some people are off work now as if it's a holiday or something, right? 2024. Have a nice day, and we'll see you in video number 3.